Hello, Sleuth. My name is Ave. This is Karabear, and welcome to Karabear Comics. Last speed draw I did was giving you a look at the cast of Almighty Protectors. This time, you're gonna get a look at my secondary comic to that, the one after Karabear Comics that I want to do. Basically, when I have enough money, it's the one after Almighty Protectors that I want to have be the ongoing one of Defenders of America. I do have an artist for it, which it's not going to be coming out very much because I can't pay the artist enough to do it every month. But as it stands, Defenders of America is basically like, I consider it like my Justice League. They can be shortened down to the Defenders, but their conceit is they're basically the strongest heroes, or just basically all established heroes already, who came together to solve the problems they couldn't do alone. You know, that whole Justice League type quote, Justice League or Avengers sort of thing. And the reason that they're able to do this within the comic, the reason for it at least, is that they use the Second Amendment's rules about militias, and say, well, every state is allowed their own militia, and that they'll be the militia of California. They haven't had that challenged yet, which I don't think it would really hold up in court, but it's at least an interesting little prospect for it. And you can see that I've got Fact Fiend playing right there. But no matter what, let's get on to watching me draw and talk about the Defenders. First up is American Cowboy, also known as John Clay, pronouns he, him. He's a cis gay man and tailor who has lived through all of American history due to his power. Said power is regeneration, which has kept him looking the same age over centuries, and he served in the military for every American war before retiring during the Obama administration. He's actually oxymoronically somebody who came into being during the Obama administration, being a character created for a webcomic by a husband and wife team who inadvertently brought him into reality by powers they had themselves, the wife to write things into reality and the husband to draw things into reality. When he came into reality, so did records of his history within the military, and ultimately he can remember as far back as the Mayflower, where he came off the boat already as an adult. His only companion through the centuries has been his horse, Sonia, who also has regenerative abilities. I didn't draw her because, come on, if I can't draw people very well, then heck no, I can't draw animals. That, and I didn't have space on the page. American Cowboy is gruff and willing to kill if need be. And I'm also sorry about how wonky his drawing looks here. I just don't know what was going on, but this is the worst drawing of all of them done for this video. Here are the finished things. And this is a colored image. Next is Black Wraith, real name Shaquanda DeMille, pronouns she, her. She's an African-American demigirl and an MMA fighter. With no powers, Shaquanda fights crime using the shadows, her martial arts skills, which primarily include Muay Thai, and parkour skills. While she has access to gadgets, she doesn't tend to rely on them. The Defenders are a begrudging asset to her, and she prefers to do things her own way, but she acknowledges their resources are very good for her mission. As she's one of only 2 members of the team with a secret identity, she's very protective of it, never taking off any bit of her costume around her colleagues, even when it would be uncomfortable to keep on. Said suit's armored makeup also keeps people from truly figuring out who she is, as it makes her figure look masculine, as well as padding her muscles to look bigger than she actually has. If other members of the team have figured out who she is, they haven't let on. All they know that may be a clue as to her secret identity is that she has a feminine voice. It should also be noted that she didn't come up with her superhero name, instead being called that due to her wearing all black and sticking to the shadows, which inspired the Wraith part of the name. And here are the finished inks. And this is a colored image. As Black Wraith is basically the Batman of the Defenders, now it's time for the Robin of the team, Poltergeist, real name Ivana Svetsky, pronouns are she, her. Ivana is an intersex woman who immigrated to America from Russia. Prior to immigration, she was a successful gymnast, but was eliminated from the sport due to her failing gender testing. Since then, she's moved into professional gymnastic exhibitions and also used her business savvy to play the stock market and garner quite a massive wealth. When Black Wraith first appeared on the scene, Ivana was interested and fashioned herself a complementary superhero identity complete with name. Quickly discerning the other hero's identity, she made sure to misdirect the investigating police by dressing up as Black Wraith and stopping some crimes herself before eventually revealing herself to Black Wraith. Convincing Wraith to come with her, Poltergeist showed the other hero the resources she could provide, and not just a headquarters and gadgets, but also a network of informants as well as important staff to help further the crime-fighting methods at home base. Ivana's also started looking into other heroes and has been altering evidence that could lead to their identities being discovered, and also has paid for housing for some of the protectors. Poltergeist was also the one that took the initiative to bring together the Defenders. When it comes to powers, she has none and tends to rely on gadgets. Her fighting abilities are mediocre, though she's been teaching herself capoeira in order to better utilize her gymnastic skills in her pursuits. Personality-wise, she's a people person and will throw herself completely into a project she feels needs to be done, diligently doing her research every time. And here are the finished inks. And this is a colored image. There was a Batman and a Robin, so how about the team's Superman? Wonder Super, pronouns he, him, was once named Walter Schmidt but legally changed it to his superhero code name. He's a cis gay man. His powers are basically the same as Superman, but he's also medium aware. This is something he's played for comedy, though he's expressed that he retreats into humor to distract himself from the horror of knowing his entire life is a fictional narrative. While he's a highly moral man with a desire to help others, he also has a wandering eye when it comes to hot guys. Promiscuous and an incorrigible flirt, he's always willing to find his next partner. This will grate on his team members as they have a less flippant view of how life operates. Still, he will always be there for them and they for him. And when it comes to this drawing, I realize that as a comedic character, he might fit in some ways in a goofier pose, but I didn't want him to stand out from the more heroic poses going on, so hence this Superman pose for him. And here are the finished inks. And this is a colored image. Now it's on to Bolt, real name Tatiana Marie, pronouns she, her. Tatiana is a Jamaican cis lesbian. For much of her life, she pursued athletics, finding herself gifted in track, having the dream of going to the Olympics. However, during one meet, her power manifested and she ran at super speed. Tatiana took it upon herself to step down from competitive running, preempting any cries of an unfair advantage due to her being superhuman. However, since she was now on record as the fastest human alive, she quickly found herself getting numerous sponsorships, pushed forward in the spotlight as a superhero Bolt. Professionally, she's a spokesperson for various brands, and has so far successfully kept their branding from being attached to her costume. While on a talk show, she met Sucrosa, who you'll see later, and the two started dating, and it was on their first date that the two got their invitations to the Defenders. Bolt is currently the only member of the team who's not a California resident, and has expressed that the name of the team is odd, since she herself isn't even a US citizen. Here are the finished inks, and this is a colored image. Next we have Sucrosa, real name Jennifer Hughes, pronouns she, her. Jennifer is a cis lesbian. Her power initially seemed to be the ability to control sugar. However, she's found that her body has on different occasions become entirely made of sugar, indicating that she's actually now entirely made of the substance, shaping herself into a human form involuntarily. Overall, she doesn't consider herself a superhero and was actually a caterer to the talk show where she met Bolt, though she also made an appearance on camera during that episode, which is how she got the invitation to the team. Jennifer joined because Bolt wanted to go, and though she ultimately doesn't feel like an actual member, despite Poltergeist being reassuring of her abilities. In spite of her doubt of her abilities, Jennifer was the one to ultimately take down the team's first supervillain. Still, she's the only member of the team who forgoes any sort of superhero costume, though she does give the conceit that she wears the same outfit when with them. And as I mentioned, she's in a relationship with Bolt. And here are the finished inks. And this is a colored image. Now we move on to Bearman, also known as Lenny Train, pronouns he, him. Lenny is a cis gay man. His power is super strength. He's an activist and the most likely member of the team to steer a conversation towards politics. His opinions are on the left of the political spectrum, and he's expressed misgivings about the justification for the team, due to him having ill feelings towards the Second Amendment and the harm that's been done by those who most champion it. Though a muscular and therefore intimidating person, Lenny is a quite empathetic person, wanting to help others where he can. His codename is basically an in-joke for him, as he's part of the bear subculture of gay men, though he's justified it otherwise with the idea that it's because bears are strong, so therefore it fits with his power. This did inspire him to use a faux bear pelt as a cape, though. You'll also see later that I added an important bit to the drawing, having completely forgotten what he wears on his arms while in the regular drawing process, and that's another thing that was inspired by his codename and more faux fur. And I'm annoyed at myself for forgetting this detail, since it's both an easy bit to draw and also a further way that his outfit looks distinct from street clothes, aside from his cape and belt buckle. And here are the finished inks. And this is a colored image. Lastly, we have Wallop, real name Ashton Taggart, pronouns he, him. Ashton is a cis man who isn't straight and is a little person. He's a regular at a public gym, being quite determined to maintain his body, and has brought himself to the peak of his physical capabilities. His costume of sorts is actually his workout outfit, including his weight belt. The bar he uses is a weight bar, which he uses as a cudgel as well as a vault bar. Its weight is of little worry to him, as he's gotten used to lugging it around, and he seems to not tire despite the fact that it's 45 pounds. While he's unaware of having any sort of power, it's possible his stamina may be more than massive determination, but potentially an actual superhuman ability. It's not like he's all that interested in figuring that out, however, since Wallop seems more content just doing what he can and never needing to look further into why he can. Overall, he would be considered the Captain America of the team. I know that American Cowboy is the patriotic American one, but Wallop actually has more of what would be considered Captain America's powers in the comics, if it is indeed a power. And here are the finished inks. This is the only one I drew without reference for the pose. And this is a colored image. And so that was the Defenders of America. Next time I do a character introduction, it'll be for more than just one team. It'll be for the Elemental Four plus 4 more characters to round out my main universe of Karabear Comics. And I don't know what the next video is going to be, but that's the next character introduction. And after that, character introductions will get into characters beyond the main universe. And maybe at some point I'll actually script these intros and outros. That would be nice. But no matter what, if you like this video for some reason, go ahead and hit yourself hit the like button. If you want to comment. If you want to subscribe. If you don't want to do any of that, well, that's your prerogative. I understand. But no matter what, have a good day.